The answer is no. I will not quit because I do not anticipate a situation at Iebc that the job for which I have been recruited, if I become chair, that I simply don't have anything to do, and therefore there's no point in me going to the office. I don't anticipate that. I have endeavored to explain what happened in the ESCJ. At Iebc, the one thing that will not make me quit is any kind of pressure, because this is something I have given thought to. I mean, I am not applying for this job thinking it's going to be a bed of roses. So pressure will not be the reason that I will quit. And because I do not see a scenario where I have no work to do, I will not quit, because that work could be actually, if it's a question, for example, of trying to get resources to do A, B, C, D, that in itself is a significant work to do. So the question of quitting, if I got the position, doesn't arise. Now, you made reference to political affiliations. I think your average Kenyan at some point probably has some kind of political affiliation. My mind is very clear that notwithstanding any political affiliation I may have had at any point in my public life, if I got this opportunity and I accepted this job, I will only be guided by the Constitution of Kenya, the laws, and of course, if I get the opportunity, I will be taking an office, an oath of office. So I am able to look the people of Kenya in the eye collectively and tell them that in that situation, I would have every intention of living by that oath of office. Daktari, and allow me to say this just as an example. The way the Iebc Act is designed, several of the honorable members around the table come here by virtue of political parties. But as I sit here as a candidate, I don't have the slightest doubt that every member in this panel is going to do their job impartially and focus on what they believe is the best result. I have no qualms whatsoever. I cannot say that so-and-so maybe at some point was a member of this party, that and the other. And I think we have the capacity to rise above that at different times. And I can look the people of Kenya in the eye and say, yes, I would be able to do the job impartially.
See, you're a real footballer. You have returned the ball into his court. But I want to ask you, Prof, to shoot your 2 high school questions.
The chairman has asked me to shoot my high school question. You are in ESCJ, which means you are in the body organogram of the East African community. The ESC Treaty envisages 4 stages. How many are already in place, and which ones are in place and which ones are not yet in place?
If you are to ask, different people have different thinking on this, but if you are to ask me, I would say that what is in place, to a certain extent, not fully, is basically the common market. That's actually the one that I would be comfortable to say is in place. The others, I would have reservations to say that they're in place. Yeah.
My second question that Chair calls high school question is that the Electoral Commission of Kenya has promulgated at the Lancaster negotiation for the Independence Constitution,
Yes.
ran the 1963 election,
Yes.
then amendments to the Constitution literally buried it until the return of multipartism,
Yes.
when ECK was again reenacted into the Constitution.
Yes.
Which body, which office ran the elections from 1969 to 1988?
There was an office called the Supervisor of Elections. In practice, the elections were run by the then provincial administration. Yeah, I think basically that's the answer I would give. Yeah.
Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Mr. Tanui.
Mine is a quick one. Justice retired Chairman Emeritus, if I may use those terms. What would you tell Kenyans who are saying that you've served this country as a judge of the East African Court? You've also served Kenyans as chairperson of CIC, and now you should allow other Kenyans to serve as chair Iebc. What can you tell them?
Yes, I would tell Kenyans, essentially, I am not before this panel from the perspective of looking for a job, so that one can say, wachia wengine na hao wafanye kazi. Of course, it's a job. And I reflected long and hard. And I imagine if I was looking for a job, I would probably still, even at my age, get a less dramatic job. The reason that I am offering myself is because, one, I remain passionate about the Constitution of Kenya 2010. I believe that the electoral process is really the backbone of the democratic architecture that the people of Kenya envisaged in that Constitution. I believe that I have something to offer to the people of Kenya in this regard, arising from my training, arising from my experience, and arising to my passion about the Constitution. I would not be as arrogant as to imagine that I'm the only one who can do this job. No, I'm just telling the panel and the appointing authority, I'm available. I believe I can do the job. I would be committed if I got the opportunity. So I'm not really, I would want to tell the people of Kenya that I'm not really trying to squeeze into a job which other people can do. Of course, there are many Kenyans who can do the job. But I'm just saying, I believe I can do the job and I am available. That's basically what I'm saying.
Thank you, Chair.
Thank you very much, Justice. We are required as a panel to receive memorandum from citizens of this country.
Yes.
And as such, put such a memoranda to you, and we have brought that to your attention. One by Bunge la Wananchi and a sworn affidavit by John Mark and a few others that has been put to you. And they allege the following: that you failed Chapter 6 integrity test due to scandals, including extramarital affairs and child support lawsuits that you have faced before. Number two, financial impropriety. They allege that you're linked to Procter and Allen, a cereals company in financial distress that has defaulted 3.7 billion loan, raising doubts about your financial management capacity. Number three, that you, Chair, lack a public record, and they allege that to implement key electoral reforms, you failed to do this as a chair of CIC, and in coming into office as a chair of Iebc, there will be nothing new that you'll add. Number 4, they say that there's some conflict of interest, that perhaps you have some political patronage that bring in lack of integrity, and you may not be objective in a presidential election. Then finally, that you lack public trust due to these past controversies, including personal scandals and questionable appointments and financial disputes. What do you have in terms of response? Briefly, kindly.
Thank you very much, Chair. I'm happy to respond to those. I did get the memorandum and I looked at it. Of course, this is a public process, and it's right of every Kenyan to make allegations. One would expect that any serious allegations would have some support. Now, when I go through this, the first one of personal morals and integrity are just allegations, and some. I saw a page from some newspaper, and that's all that it is, allegations. Whatever they talk about, they have really not given any substance, and I do not accept the allegations. And I think that's really, on that one, that's what I would say about it. The second one, and I think Procter & Allen, I have never had anything to do with the management of that company. I am a very small shareholder in an investment company which itself has shares in Procter & Allen. I have no direct links with Procter & Allen. So I don't know how I would answer that, because if you're talking about financial management, I've never been involved in the financial management of Procter & Allen. So I really don't know how that would be said to reflect financial impropriety. The allegation that I failed at CIC, I think it's insulting, not so much to myself, because I'm a candidate here and they're welcome to say what they wish to say about me. I think it's insulting to the people I worked with at CIC, the entire team, and all the other stakeholders, to say that we did nothing and achieved nothing at CIC. I think the work that CIC did is self-evident. So I think this is just an allegation, like all the others, meant to scandalize. Political patronage. I'm not sure which you referred to, because I saw two things. One, a statement about the manner in which I was appointed to the East African Court of Justice. To the best of my knowledge, that's the way. The treaty has no details, and that's the way the manner I was appointed is the way all judges are appointed through their respective heads of state who sit in the summit, which is the appointing authority. The head of state nominates. And so unless the treaty is changed, I really don't think, and then unless every other person who has been appointed from Kenya to the East African Court of Justice has gone there by virtue of political patronage, which I think there is no evidence to that. Again, I think this is purely scandalous. The other thing, there was an allegation of me being related to somebody who they say they seem to know that is going to be a presidential candidate. Something I don't know anything about. The person they mentioned is not my relative, so I really don't know how I would respond to it. Again, I think it's purely scandalous. I'm very clear in my mind that none of those allegations have any basis whatsoever. And really, Chair, unless members of the panel wish to ask me specific follow-up questions on that, which I will be happy to answer, I consider the entire memorandum as being motivated by ill will for reasons that I don't know, and not being supported by the truth. But if members have anything specific they wish to ask, I have no problem.
Any knowledge of you being a state candidate?
A state candidate for this job? No. I'm not sure what a state candidate is, but I made this decision to run. You know, Mr. Chairman, when somebody talks about a state candidate, they're actually insulting this panel. You're the people who are going to decide who among the people that you have interviewed you are going to recommend to the appointing authority. So the idea of a state candidate is foreign to me.
Your last question.
Thank you, Chairman. Justice Nyachae, there have been allegations by Bunge la Wananchi.
Yes.
In a memorandum that I'm certain that you have seen.
Yes.
Facts which have been disclosed to you earlier, that there was a misappropriation while you were at CIC in the year 2015, that the Auditor General's report revealed that at that time, the Commission spent an excess of expenditure of 43 million in a budget of 306 million, which had been approved. That at the time you ended up spending about 349.8 million, even though largely the amount was accounted for. They say that the 9.2 million was fraudulently paid for the supply of newspapers, a matter which they say to have been subject of criminal investigations. What is your response to these allegations that this panel has received in the form of a memorandum?
Sorry, I'm hearing this for the first time. Was that memorandum sent to me?
I think so, it was.
Separately from the earlier one?
It must have been in the same package.
Oh, I didn't see that one. And my answer is very simple. I know absolutely nothing about that allegation. I was not involved at CIC in anything to do with the financial processes or practice at the Commission. I'm also not aware of it, but in any event, I was not. I would have wanted to know if there were criminal proceedings, who are they against and what was the outcome. I really don't know anything about it.
That is self-explanatory, how you have explained, and I think it is sufficient for the purposes of this interview. We just want accountability in terms of the memorandum that we have received.
No, that's
and of course a fair defense for yourself.
Absolutely.
Which we are grateful.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Okay, Tanwi.
Maybe Chair, to also help us, were you the accounting officer of CIC?
Not at all. Not at all.
Thank you. That's all.
Yeah.
I think that's enough.
Okay.
Finally, you may not have seen this memorandum, but we have received it this afternoon saying that you are a state officer Are you a state officer?
I chair the council of the Kenya School of Government. I'm not sure that that certainly makes me a public officer. I'm not sure it makes me a state officer.
Okay. I think that's okay.
Yeah.
That's enough. Thank
Okay.
you. Thank you very much. It's taken us long. We have taken almost about 10 minutes above the time we should have taken with you. But thank you for indulging us into your life and your career. Do you have any question for us?
Or I can make a comment.
You can make a comment.
My comment is to really appreciate the opportunity to interview before yourselves, to wish you well in the process, because you are doing an important public duty, whatever you decide. And to say that for me, the most important thing is that from whichever corner I may be, I remain passionate about the issues that we have been discussing. If I get the opportunity, I will endeavor to do my best. If I don't get the opportunity, I will continue to support the country as it strives to achieve the issues that we have been discussing on Iebc to deliver its mandate from whatever corner. Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you very much for coming. We appreciate your time and the sacrifice you have made to spend your afternoon with us. We wish you well in this pursuit. There's a bottle of water there. Please do remember to pick your certificates. Asante sana. Thank you. That's yours. It's okay. Wow. Okay. Media, do we ask you again to give us some space kindly, turn off your gadgets, and just allow us to be able to finish up with this candidate. Thank you very much.